Dear delegates, I'm deeply honored to deliver the keynote speech for the 2025 National Conference of the National African Student Association. Your chosen team, charting the course, Youth at the Helm of Africa's Future, is not just an aspiration, it is a call to action. It acknowledges that young Africans are not merely participants in shaping Africa's destiny, but must take ownership and lead transformative change. We are at a moment of unprecedented opportunity. The geopolitical tectonic plates are moving. Youth already constitute the largest demographic in African countries, and projections show that by 2050, Africa will be home to the largest global workforce. This demographic shift is not just an African reality. It is a force that will reshape multilateralism, redefine economic power, and influence global governance. The current world order, shaped by institutions and policies that emerge post-World War II, will need to adapt to this new reality. A world where Africa's youth will play a decisive role in global economy, political, and technological innovation. Yet, this call to leadership demands reflection. What does it truly mean to lead Africa toward the future we envision? Are we prepared? Do we understand the magnitude of the challenge before us? Leadership is not conferred by age nor by position. It is earned through vision, credibility, accountability, and the ability to mobilize others towards a joint objective. Today, I would like to offer you my perspectives on the role of leadership in charting a course for Africa's future. In my view, leadership is the foundation for Africa's progress. To lead effectively, we must first recognize where African leadership has succeeded, but also where it has failed. Good leadership is not about authority or power. It is about stewardship. It is about mastering the rules of the game, understanding the international economic order that shapes Africa's position in the global system. If we do not understand the forces at play, we cannot truly lead. We'll remain passive actors in a game whose rules we do not control. Today, Africa faces three fundamental paradoxes that reflect our past history, compounded by governance failures. The financial paradox. Africa possesses vast financial resources, yet it is trapped in debt distress, with 63% of African countries either at high risk or already in debt distress. At the same time, the continent is losing $500 billion annually to illicit financial flows, trade mispricing, inefficient public spending, and other uncontrolled flows, making it a net exporter of capital to the rest of the world. The energy paradox. The continent boasts abundant energy resources, including 7.2% of the global oil reserves and approximately 13% of natural gas reserves, along with the potential to scale up renewable energy. Yet, it remains largely shrouded in darkness, with 580 million citizens lacking access to modern, affordable, and reliable energy services. This mismatch between energy potential and accessibility hampers economic growth and quality of life for many Africans. The food system's paradox. Africa is rich in agricultural resources, yet it grapples with alarming levels of food insecurity. In 2021, 278 million people in Africa were undernourished, an increase of 22% from 2019 and 42% from 2000. The prevalence of severe food insecurity has risen from 17% in 2014 to 23% in 2021, highlighting the inefficiencies and challenges within the continent's agriculture systems, compounded by an unfair international trade system. These paradoxes expose the core of Africa's current leadership challenge, an inability to control economic and financial flows. If Africa does not control its own economic and financial flows, it cannot chart its own course. So, what have we been missing? Allow me to make a few observations. First, rethinking policymaking. Since the 70s, African policymakers have been equated managing development with managing poverty. This must change. Africa must shift its focus from poverty alleviation to wealth creation, resource management, and economic sovereignty. Second, building effective states and institutions. The idea that markets alone will drive development is obsolete. Effective governance and strong institutions are essential to ensure that economic policies translate into real progress. Third, harnessing the digital economy. In the 21st century, African leaders must embrace technology and innovation to build resilient economies. Digital transformation is no longer optional. It is the engine for progress. Considering these 3 points, let me go back to the triple paradox. What type of leadership do we need to break it? True leadership demands full ownership of Africa's peace and development agenda. Credibility plays a pivot role in this leadership. But credibility extends beyond professional competence. It hinges on personal integrity. In today's world, it is this integrity that sets the foundation for true leadership. Credibility is what allows leadership to gain the legitimacy needed to rally civil society and drive the development process. Without trustworthiness, leadership cannot effectively mobilize people for meaningful change. It is time for African policy leaders to recognize that the vote alone does not grant lasting legitimacy. While the vote provides what we can call electoral legitimacy based on the legal framework, it does not offer organic legitimacy. Organic legitimacy is earned in power through actions that are genuinely aligned with the needs of the people and the situation at hand. This brings us to the limitations of imported political democracy models, where civil society participation is often reduced to a mere act of voting, offering only electoral legitimacy. This system has led to a growing trend of occasional and incidental citizenship, where civic engagement is confined to voting, and elected leaders end up replacing rather than representing the voters. To establish true legitimacy, we must restore the economic dimension of democracy. Without this, the system fails to provide the organic legitimacy that leadership needs to truly represent and uplift the people. I would like to offer you a simple conceptual framework that can help us understanding how leadership can be exercised through the ownership of Africa's development and economic dimensions. The first pillar of this conceptual framework, durable peace, requires sustainable development. Lasting peace cannot exist without a foundation of sustainable development. Second, sustainable development requires sustainable financing. Sustainable development needs funding that is not only substantial, but also enduring and resilient. Such financing must be national owned, ensuring that it aligns with the local priorities and fosters long-term growth. Third, sustainable financing requires control over economic and financial flows. To achieve sustainable financing, African states must have sovereignty over their economic and financial resources. This includes the ability to manage and direct these flows effectively to support development goals. Fourth, control over economic and financial flows requires strong and effective states and institutions. Finally, the ability to manage economic and financial flows depends on the presence of strong, effective, and transparent country systems and institutions. These entities must be capable of implementing policies, regulating activities, and ensuring accountability. And the lack of accountability opens the door to conditionalities that silently undermine ownership. Incidentally, my office has developed this framework into a freely accessible online course titled The Peace and Development Nexus in Africa, Governance, Financing, and Country Systems. Available on the UN System Staff College website. The course provides a structured approach to understanding governance challenge in Africa, and I encourage you to explore it. It may offer fresh insights or new perspectives that can deepen your understanding of Africa's development trajectory. As diaspora youth, you have a role in shaping Africa's future. You hold a unique position. You can bridge the gap between Africa and the global community, leveraging your skills, experience, and networks to influence policy and drive innovation and facilitate knowledge and technology transfer back to Africa. In education and business, you can challenge outdated systems and pioneer new solutions to Africa's financial, energy, and agriculture challenge. In media, sports, entertainment, you are shifting narratives about Africa, showcase its resilience and ingenuity to the world. By establishing networks and collaborations, you can amplify your efforts, ensuring that ideas and initiatives reach wider audiences and create lasting impact. Let us embrace our shared responsibility to chart the course of Africa's future, driving change and leading with purpose. Together, we can transform our narrative, celebrate our identities, and foster a thriving Africa. Young Africans in the diaspora are instrumental in reshaping the narrative surrounding our continent. Africa's future is not an abstract dream. It is a tangible reality that we must create together. Leadership is not the responsibility of governments alone. It is a collective effort. You are the co-architects of this future. Let us take ownership of our continent's trajectory. Let us lead with boldness, vision, and integrity. Let us dismantle the paradoxes that have held Africa back and build a continent that is economically sovereign, technologically advanced, and globally influential. As I like to say, the Africa we want is the Africa the world needs. Thank you.